Hey, yo, what is up, guys? Coach Chad here. I hope you guys are having an amazing, what's today? July? Oh, God, this is the entrepreneur in me. Don't even know. All days seem the same. It's July 14th. We're almost halfway through the month. But anyways, guys, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about the importance of targets and how targets have absolutely changed my life. And I'm actually going to give you guys a formula to create your targets. So why are targets so important? If you know how the mind works, the mind has what's called a reticulating activating system. Okay. Now, when you buy a new car, what do you typically see more of on the road? You typically see more of that new car, right? It's because you're constantly thinking about it, right? Subconsciously and consciously. The same thing is true when you have business targets. When you have business targets, right, you're constantly thinking about those business targets consciously and subconsciously. Therefore, you are actively looking for opportunity, and then you are taking action on that opportunity, once again, consciously and subconsciously. So what I'm going to do in this video for you guys is I am going to break down a way to set up targets for yourself. So what we're going to set targets around is how many clients you want in the year, in the quarter, in the month, in the week, how many sales calls you're going to need to get on for the year, for the quarter, for the month, and for the week to get that clientele. And also how many 10-minute discovery calls you're going to need to get on for the year, for the quarter, for the month, for the week, if you want to book X amount of sales calls, right? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the sales process is DM outreach. DM outreach books a 10-minute call. A 10-minute call books a 60-minute call, right? And then the last metric we're going to come up with together is the revenue, the good old revenue metric, okay? So first metric that we are going to come up with is our client metric, okay? The total amount of clients that we want. So actually, sorry, we're going to backtrack. We're going to book the total number of tens first, the total number of 10-minute discovery calls first. So to give you some reference on this one, in 2019, we booked, I think it was a little over 700 10-minute calls. In 2020, we're almost past that, which is pretty crazy to say, right? And here's a good metric to start. If you do 2 hours of Messenger, you probably should book about one call. So the first thing you have to figure out this target is how many hours of Messenger are you going to do in a day? And usually a good KPI for this is you book half a call every hour you work. All right. So let's say you're going to work 4 hours a day on Messenger. All right. So that means that you're going to book 2 calls a day, right? So you take 2 times 365. That means you're going to book 730 calls for the year. So write down your total call bookings for the year, dependent on how many call booking targets you think you will get in the day based on how many hours you're going to work. Okay. If you want to figure out how many you need in the quarter, you're going to take that total number for the year and divide it by 4. If you want to figure out how many you're going to get in the month, you're going to take that total number for the year and divide it by 12. If you want to know how many you need for the week, you're going to take that total number and divide it by 52. Okay, so that's your 10-minute call target. All right. Now, you need to figure out how many of your 10-minute calls do you think will convert to 60-minute sales calls. So on the 10-minute call, you're really just trying to figure out if they're a good fit, right? And if they are a good fit, you're going to book them in for a longer sales call. That's the 60-minute call. So a good average for this is anywhere from 30 to 70 to 80%. If you have a loyal following, like a highly loyal following, you probably are going to be between 50 and 80% of your 10-minute calls that will convert to 60s. If it's a little bit more of a colder lead, probably anywhere from about 30 to 50%. So let's just smack dab in the middle. Let's just say 50% of your 10s, right? And you can come up with your own number, but for the purpose of this example, let's say about 50% of this person's 10s are going to convert to 60s, all right? So this is how you find out the total 60s for the year. You're going to take the total 10s for the year. You're going to divide it by 2, right, which is 50%. And that means you're going to get 365 60s or closing calls or sales calls for the year. Now, if you want to figure out how much for the quarter, you take that total number and divide it by 4. For the month, take that total number divided by 12. For the week, take that total number divided by 52. Okay, so that's how you figure out how many sales calls or 60-minute sales calls you're going to have. And then we'll get the next number, which is clients. Okay, so this next number, which is how many clients are you going to close out of these sales calls, is solely dependent on how good of a salesperson you are, right? This can range anywhere from about 30 to 80%. 30%, you're average, right? So you're okay, right? 50%, you're pretty damn good. Anything above 50%, you're pretty damn good. Like you're really damn good. Okay. So depending on how good at sales you are, and once again, this is a sliding scale. Just if you're 30% now doesn't mean you're always going to be a 30%, right? So let's again, let's just say 50% for the sake of math. So you're going to take your total 60 number and divide it by the percentage that, or multiply it by the percentage that you think, hold on, 365 times 0.5, that you think you are going to get. So you take the total 60, multiply it by your presumed closing percentage. And in this case, if it was 50%, that means we're going to get on 183 total, or that means we're going to get 183 clients for the year. Here we go. Okay. So if you want to figure out how much you need in the quarter, the month, and the week, you guys already know that math. Divided by 4 for the quarter, divided by 12 for the month, divided by 52 for the week. All right. So now you know how many 10-minute calls you need to get on in order to book X amount of 60s, in order to book X amount of clients. Okay. So you have that. Now we need to figure out, all right, what is the revenue going to be from all of this if we get 183 clients, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your total amount of clients per year and multiply it by your average price point. So I want you to go into your inventory. I want you to find your average price point. You're going to take that number and you're going to multiply it by the total clients in the year. So let's just say it's 2,000. So 183 multiplied by 2,000. Boom, that's $366,000 for the year. Now to figure out the quarter, the month, and the week, you guys already know how to do that. Divided by 4, divided by 12, divided by 52. So that is how you set targets. Now, what do you do with these targets? What you do with these targets is you make them prevalent, right? Make a chart where you have the targets and then track if you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing and hitting the targets, right? Track how many 10s you're booking for the year, for the quarter, for the month, and for the week. Same thing for 60, same thing for clients, right? Track these metrics and see if you're actually hitting your target. So if you want to take this to the next level, if you want to have clear direction, you got to set targets first. And this is how I do it for myself.